And we're back for another exciting episode of the Tokyo Fun Hunter with Yuki.
Yuki.
With Yuki.
That's the thing.
Yeah. Anyway, we are about to talk about body language. If you've been watching our interview, we've talked a little bit about kind of meeting new friends in Japan. We talked about eye contact, and now we're going to talk about body language. This is an interesting and this is great because Yuki, we did a first video earlier. She was really nervous.
Yeah, I was.
She was.
I'm still nervous.
And I appreciate you admitting that. Hey, I'm not perfect too. I'm outgoing as hell, but there's times where I'm like because I try to be very spontaneous with these videos, and sometimes get ahead of my thinking and my talking get ahead of each other. So we're gonna talk about body language, and I'll talk about what I know from the Western side. How about you tell us a little about the Eastern side?
Okay.
Okay?
Yeah.
So, kind of just by the way, my background is I used to study, and I still love studying, sociology. And, 80% of language and communication is through your body. So we're going to talk a little bit about that. So that's my background, is I love studying this type of things, and I do interviews all the time with a lot of companies and clients. So, and that's a big part of communication is 80% body language. You need to know this stuff. And if you do know it, it gives you an extra advantage in dealing with people, I feel. So, Yuki, what can you tell us about Japanese body language?
Well, we don't have a body language that much.
Well, thank you for that!
You say that when you're talking like this. I was listening. Okay.
Well, that's a big thing. See, I'm talking a lot with more of my hands. Theirs is a little bit more toned down, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
I was in the overseas, so still the body language, but in Japanese people doesn't do it, hug.
Yeah, with no hugging.
No hugging. They get scared.
And I've been there where it's the ass out hug, right? Where you do the hug and they try to kind of go away from you, so you're like reaching, they start pulling away, and it's hugging. The hugging culture doesn't exist. With other foreigners, it really does, but be mindful that they don't hug that much.
No, and a body touch, when a guy body touches a girl at the first time, they're like, oh, okay.
Yeah, no touching, guys.
No.
It's kind of funny because this is kind of a popular theme right now, especially in Western, where they talk about kind of building up comfort through touching, and they might do they might do this. This is in California, for example. California, and you guys know what I'm talking about. You build up comfort because at the end of the day, you don't want it to be like the buildup of the kiss or the buildup of touching, right? You want to kind of structure it throughout the date as they're getting comfortable, step by step. In Japan, though, that's a no-no. No, you can't no, even just lightly, oh, you're so much fun. No, you're not doing that.
Yeah. We more, when you talk, we just nod or something, or, I don't know, we don't have a hands thing. We don't shake hands, this thing.
Sure.
And we don't
So,
hug.
no hugging, no touching, no handshakes.
No.
It sounds awesome.
That's Japanese.
No, it's true, and this is why we're talking about it.
Yeah.
So, what else? What other things do you recommend?
For body touching?
Well, not body touching, but reading body language.
Reading body
Yeah, being able to read another person's body language. How do they feel? So, for example, I'll give you an example. I'm not going to tilt the camera or anything, but Yuki's very just straight like this with her hands crossed on her, with her knees together. Yeah, and that's a very typical way, and it doesn't mean that they're nervous or anything. It doesn't mean they're nervous. It doesn't mean that they're closed off. That's just the typical Japanese girl way of of showing their kind of personality type.
Yeah, we don't say I do kodabat in the overseas, but how you say your feet like this.
So your feet's crossed.
Yeah. The girls doesn't do it here.
That's interesting. I'm always crossing.
Rude if you do
I'm always crossing. I'm sure there's a few videos where my knees in front of my chest.
Say it like this. Like this.
Okay, so when you're not, your knees are together, but your legs are kind of apart, but you're
yeah, that's
like this way.
No, you say like that.
Ah,
right?
yeah.
We don't do
Gotcha.
that.
Okay.
Yeah. It's
Okay.
kind of rude if girls does it.
Really? So if girls are sitting and they cross their feet,
Mm-hmm.
then that's considered
It's
a rude thing to do.
Yeah.
Really? You go.
It's like
how,
rude, but
how
like,
dare her?
like our age
So
is
it's
okay,
surprised I said that.
but my mom or like dad thinks,
Mm.
oh, that's kind of what do you call it? Giving.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah. Or like in Tokyo, maybe you see some people sit on the floor, but we don't sit on the floor like a road.
Yeah.
But you do that, right?
Yeah,
Sit
we
down
have
anywhere.
basically if you're ever outside, you'll never see Japanese people putting the butt to the ground,
Yeah.
right? They'll always be in this like squatting position
Uh-huh.
where it's almost touching, but it doesn't touch. It's weird.
Uh-huh.
I kind of think of it as like the Spider-Man pose where they're like, have you ever seen Spider-Man comics? Yeah. They basically look like they're squatting down and like they're relaxed, but I don't know how because they're not actually touching the ground.
No.
Must be an incredible leg workout. Yeah.
And then when you're in the train, like a full field train, have you ever been?
I've been on all the
Yeah.
different trains. Yeah.
Maybe you wanna put your hands up, like holding or like this, because otherwise they think you're touching the girl's bed or something. Sometimes.
I'm confused. You mean like an overnight train?
No, the train with the full people.
Don't put your hands up?
No, you have to put your hands up.
Yeah.
You might wanna like both hands.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
Yeah.
Oh,
How
so
do you say
if you're
chikan?
in the train, yeah, chikan is like a grabby feely not a pedophile, but like basically a sexual deviant is
Yeah.
kind of like the literal term.
Uh-huh.
Chikan is kind of like sexual harassment person, somebody who's touching a girl maybe underneath. You don't want to be doing that, and you know what? 20 years ago, it was typical.
It was? In here, alright.
It's part of the culture. Nowadays, it was. It was like sexual harassment was not as big a deal, right? Especially in
Yeah.
companies and trains and stuff like that. In current culture, I've seen guys get hunted down. Recently, did you hear about this?
Yeah.
The person who got accused of being a chikan jumped off the tracks.
Oh, yeah, I
Yeah,
heard about
right?
that.
He
Wow.
jumped. He was so afraid. He was
Yeah.
so afraid because a girl was basically like, I guess I don't know what, maybe he did, maybe he didn't, I don't know.
Yeah.
But a girl was basically, chikan, 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 right?
Uh-huh.
You basically, you touched me. And he was so afraid because
Yeah.
this is drawing a big scene.
Uh-huh.
And in Japan, girls got
You
the
could
power.
lose job.
You could lose everything. You lose
Yeah.
your reputation. You lose your job. You lose a lot of stuff. The guy ended up jumping in front of a train.
Yeah, I heard of that.
Yeah, instead of facing like the accusations, he seriously jumped in front of a train.
That's scary.
That ties into my suicide videos. It's not a happy subject. I shouldn't be laughing, but yeah,
Yeah.
bad Yuki. Yeah. But yeah, body language. So let's talk about Western body language real quick. Okay, Western body language. What is the right Western body language? So okay, guys. So guys, touching's out. Handshakes are out. Hugging is out. How do you do a good job displaying right body language? Okay? Biggest rule of thumb, I feel, is mirroring technique. Whatever the person in front of you is doing, it's always a good idea to kind of just follow their lead and mirror how they do. So if they're kind of that way, it's okay for yourself to also be erect and kind of that way. Now, guys, this is a very female way of posing. For guys, very, very proper. For guys, I would say be a little bit more open.
Yeah.
A little bit more leaning back. You want to be looking like you're comfortable, I'd say. The kind of what I was taught with Western and kind of how people view body language is you want to be taking up space, both height and width. And the way you do this is not by gaining weight or anything. It's basically just making sure your body's very open.
Yeah.
If you're very closed off, it shows that you're closed off. So you want to make sure you're open. I'd say your knees slightly apart. Your hands are up. If you're like this,
It's close.
it's closed off.
Yeah.
Exactly. I mean, it makes me look good, but it's closed off. It's a closed off position. So you want to make sure your hands are out. I know. Sorry, the camera's only so small. You want to make sure your hands are out, and eye contact is friendly. But the best way I think to read body language is just smiling.
Yeah.
Right?
That's the best
Going
one.
into a conversation with a smile just eases all the tension. You could say whatever you want, but with a smile, it really just makes it look like, okay, this guy's a friendly person.
Yeah.
And it's funny to me on how many people forget that simple thing, especially when meeting new people.
Is
When
that
you,
because they're nervous?
well, like you said, here's a good example we were talking about earlier, kind of the no-nos of kind of meeting new people in Japan. This happens all the time, and I think we talked about this with Caroline and Brienne, right? When we go into a bar, the first thing I think you should do is just start meeting new people and be friendly with people. The biggest mistake a lot of guys meet is when they go around, they walk in and they do the scan.
Scan?
The scan. They put their head and they look around the bar, and they do it without smiling. It's like the Terminator, right?
Yeah.
This turns off so many people because this is actually your first impression. It's not the hello, it's how you enter the situation of the room, right? If you enter the room with a big smile, people's already going to register, hey, this looks like a fun person to me.
Yeah.
If you're like enter with like a totally like somber mood, and you're obviously doing the head scan to kind of see who's in the room. Is there any hot people in the room? Is there any people I want to meet?
You can tell from the face.
You can tell. You can tell exactly what's on their mind. Why are they there? And you don't want to peg yourself that way, right? You're basically just disconnecting a lot of people, and now you have that working against you if you want to meet new people, right?
Smile.
So smile. When you go into any situation, smile before you enter the room. Right, and also
smile.
a big smile. It's kind of like, you know, the mind listens to the body, but the body listens to the mind. Right? If you smile beforehand, it's kind of that weird trick. You can't feel bad. Right? Like try it for 30 seconds. Even if you're having a terrible day and you just smile, it's tough to kind of like remain that way.
Yeah.
So if you smile beforehand, then it's kind of like a double punch where you are giving off a good vibe to the room. They're seeing that smile, but also you change your own energy and feeling good going in.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So that's a big thing in terms of body language, is basically smile. For the no touching, no handshakes, it does change. They have to really start to get to know you, and usually they won't do it ever in public.
Yeah.
What do you think about public display of affection?
Well,
I think I'm like always drinking something every time I'm doing these videos. People are gonna be like, "Why is he always?" It's coffee, okay? It's not nothing that.
but the thing is, you can't act like you're American. You like a handshake and stuff. Actually.
Yeah. And people like that sometimes.
Yeah. Like, oh, American. Sorry.
Thank you.
can do
For
that.
Japanese people,
But you
you
gotta
actually.
be very friendly though.
Yeah. I actually taught a class once on body language. It was kind of interesting, and I'm going it very lightly. But for Japanese people, if there's any Japanese people watching, here's 3 different handshakes you can have. Okay, you want to go with them?
Okay.
Okay. We'll go ahead and face each other. So these are 3 handshakes if you ever want to do, hold on. Actually, you know what? I'm going to make this a separate video because, to cut it, just a sec. All right, we're going to pause. Go ahead and watch the next video on Tokyo Fun Hunter channel about handshakes, okay? Are you ready? Stay tuned.